welcome back to my channel. This is Quantum Visions, and in this video we're about to take a look at another video and review another video talking about the late brother Rasheem Carter and how he was basically lynched in Mississippi, Fayetteville, Mississippi. If y'all want to see more videos like this, hit the like and subscribe. Let's get it.
Anybody that know him gonna tell you, all he did was smile. So he was happy. He was a happy person. He loved helping the elderly, loved feeding people, taking care of other people's children if he could, you know.
Justice for Rasheem.
And a father of a 7-year-old daughter. So he was well loved.
Here we go.
Let's fix our step.
Let's fix our step.
Here we go.
A group of people have come here to Taylorsville to demand answers for what's happened to Rasheem Carter. He went missing over 6 months ago, and it was a month later that parts of his body were found in a field nearby to here. Now, the family and a lot of black people here in the community think that this was a murder, and that murder.
Now, y'all see them brothers out there in that purple. Everybody should understand and know what these brothers out here doing. They out here spreading the truth, and they come out here to support Rasheem Carter and trying to figure out what happened to this brother. I mean, y'all got to respect these men. Y'all can't be trying to disrespect these men. You know what I'm saying? They coming out here, they, you know what I'm saying, spending their time. They could be doing something else, but they out here trying to make sure that the communities is cleaned up and our people that's being unalived is really being paid attention to and noticed. So, y'all pay attention to these brothers. I'm telling you.
Racially motivated. There's also a lot of suspicion about the role of law enforcement here. So people are here to demand an outside investigation of this case and to demand answers for what happened to Rasheem Carter.
I want to thank everybody here today for standing with us in unity and solidarity. This has really been a struggle for our family, but we're going to do the best we can to fight to get the justice that we deserve to have.
That's right.
Rasheem Carter's case is complicated, and there's a lot we don't know. What we do know is that last September, Carter traveled to Taylorsville for a short-term contract job at a chemical plant. He was staying at a hotel about 30 minutes outside of town. On October 1st, Carter texted his mother, saying there was a truck full of white men following him and shouting racial slurs.
At this very moment, the very moment that he called his mama, I'm about to tell you right now, I can only speak from what I would do. I ain't gonna even lie to you. First and foremost, I would not be in Mississippi. First and foremost. Second of all, I probably would have had to be out. You know what I'm saying? I would have had to be out. That's not what this brother did, and that's not what God's plan was for this brother. So, I mean, we gotta take it how it came, and unfortunately this brother had to be unalive so that his story can go out and we can still try to figure out how to get up out of the predicaments that we in it. And them brothers in purple look like they got something going on. Let's continue.
That he was scared. His mother told him to make an official report with the police department, which he did. He also asked the police for a ride back to his hotel because he felt unsafe. But the police refused, saying that it was outside of the jurisdiction.
Now, for the police to say that you're outside of the jurisdiction for them to help you, that says a lot. You don't really have to say much for them to say, oh, you're out of the jurisdiction, we can't help you get to a safe place. Your safety is not our concern here, sir. So you figure it out on your own. That's basically what they told the brother. Figure it out on your own.
This is where the timeline gets fuzzy. It's unclear where Carter spent the night, but early the next morning, he returned to the police again to ask to borrow a phone charger. Police said they didn't have a charger that would work with his phone, but suggested he buy one at the Family Dollar. With his phone battery at 1%, he texted his mother his location and she sent a friend to pick him up. But by the time they arrived, Carter was gone. The next day, October 2nd, the family went to Taylorsville PD and filed a missing persons report. Days went by without news, so they called the Sheriff's Department of Smith County, of which Taylorsville is a part, and asked if they had seen Rasheem Carter. The Sheriff's Department said no one had told them he was missing, and that this was the first they'd heard of it, 3 days after the initial report. And it seemed...
So, when he went to the police station, they didn't ask for his name, date of birth, and none of that information. They didn't ask who he was or where he was going or what was the actual problem on why he even needed help. And from another article that I read, that he tried to sleep at the jail and they put him out. They told him, no, he can't stay here. So it's like I said earlier, your safety and the concerns for your safety is not a matter for us here, sir. So figure it out on your own. And Mississippi, bro, I'm telling you, it ain't safe out there for us. Like, I'm going to keep it 100.
no one was looking for him. Another 3 days went by, and the police didn't have anything. So the family drove into town to look on their own. They went to one of the stores in the area that Carter had last texted from and asked if they had any surveillance footage. The employees handed the footage over. Then the family asked if they'd also given this same footage to the police. They were told that police had never even asked for it.
Wow.
Almost a month later, a property owner in Taylorsville...
So you telling me you got a missing person and it's supposed to be under investigation and you're supposed to be seeing everywhere that he was seen last, and you gonna not ask the main place that got him on camera walking in the store for the footage? Come on, bro. I'm telling you.
With law enforcement that he'd found an image of someone on his deer cam that he didn't recognize. Taylorsville police took dogs to search the area and then stated they'd found remains they believed were Carter's in a wooded area just outside of Taylorsville. Only a skull and some fragments of a vertebrae remained.
They did my boy dirty.
Official documents from the case seemed to suggest that trauma to the bones indicated some sort of injury, but the cause of death was listed as undetermined. The report also indicated that animals may since have eaten some of the remains.
So you're telling me that the cause of his death is undetermined when you see that his skull has been sliced precisely? It ain't got no ridges in it, or it don't look like somebody hit him in the head with a hammer. It looked like they probably... It's very hard to think about. Everything that happened to the brother, I believe they did to him while he was alive. And I'm going to leave it at that.
Once the remains were located, Smith County Sheriff's Department almost immediately said in a Facebook post that they didn't suspect foul play. They would later backtrack on this, saying that they hadn't ruled it out. The family did suspect that this was a murder.
It's
and
definitely
felt that
foul
law
play.
enforcement were not making an effort to find the person responsible.
They wasn't.
So, in February, the family organized a protest in Taylorsville
Thank God.
to demand a more thorough investigation. The participants, who were mostly black, marched to Taylorsville Police Department, where they were taunted by a group of white men. One of the protesters wrote a message in chalk on the...
She said, we better get back down that river there, boy. You better get your black ass back down that river before we come over there and hit all y'all. That's what you better go on there and do. Now y'all come down with all you day goddamn protest on some boy that are missing here. I better get your ass out of here. You get your ass out of here. Oh man.
Saying that Rasheem Carter's life mattered. That same evening, Taylorsville Police Chief Gabe Horn posted a picture on Facebook of an officer power washing the message off the pavement with the caption, "Just a little cleanup," and a hand-waving emoji. All of this has added to community suspicions that
the police had
officials
something to do
don't
with it.
actually care about Rasheem Carter.
They don't care.
And this suspicion has spread.
They don't
On
care.
May 11th, Benjamin Crump gave a press conference and used the word that was on everyone's minds.
That this was not of natural causes. This was a Mississippi lynching
Thanks.
in 2022 of a young black man.
Yeah,
Which brings us up to today,
modern day
6
lynching.
months later. A community on edge and no answers
them
as to
brothers
what
out there
really
deep.
happened to Rasheem Carter. But Carter's case isn't the first time the topic of modern lynchings
Stop
has come up
playing.
in this part of Mississippi. Jill Colleen Jefferson is a civil rights attorney who does pro bono investigations into suspected lynchings.
What kind of town is this here?
This is old school Mississippi right here. I grew up in Taylorsville. That has a deep history. It's a place where people are incredibly friendly, but also a place where, like in a lot of places in Mississippi, there is still deep-seated racism.
Of course.
Tell me about the first case you really started working on.
The Willie Andrew Jones Jr. case, we solved this case. Willie, a 21-year-old black man, he was found hanging from a tree in his white girlfriend's front yard. The cops got there, and within 40 minutes of their being on the scene, they had told Willie's mother that it was suicide, that it was nothing else. They hadn't even talked to witnesses. They hadn't done any type of investigation.
So that's how they
started
rocking
running
down.
our own investigation, going over phone records, getting surveyed.
They cover everything up in Mississippi. If they unalive you and you black, you got brown skin, you're not about to be found out. Ain't nobody going to jail. Ain't nobody going to jail. You end up missing in the SIP. Let's continue, man. It's wild.
This footage, going to the crime scene, and there was just so many things that they missed.
Where is Willie Jones Jr.'s case now?
We won a civil case in 2021, and we won $11 million. Right now, the district attorney refuses to prosecute for murder.
There's just so much stuff I can stop this video about. Why would they pay my family $11 million if nobody did nothing wrong? It just doesn't make sense. It don't add up, bro.
The truth that people need to realize is that in so many of these tiny places in Mississippi, Jim Crow is actually still alive. The environment is still very much the same. That if you're black and you're there, that you're likely unsafe. People think we're further along than we actually are.
We're not.
The thing is, lynchings never stopped. Because they're not in the mainstream anymore, people assume that they're not happening, but they've never, ever, ever stopped.
They hide everything from us.
In the Willie Jones Jr. case, authorities continue to maintain that the evidence points to a suicide and not a lynching. Mississippi has more lynchings historically than any other state in the U.S.
Question.
Marion Allen is a historian.
If my people are getting lynched, every chance that another group of people get to lynch my people, am I supposed to say I love you and we're best buds? Is that what I'm supposed to say? Am I supposed to look at my people as less of a human? And not give my people a humanity? And I'm supposed to give the people who did the lynching a humanity? That don't sound right. That sound like I'm a traitor. You be the judge. Let's continue.
Who's been watching Rasheem Carter's case.
Is it here?
She works to establish memorials around Mississippi to commemorate different lynchings that have happened in the state.
I mean, not too far away from here is where Rasheem Carter went missing.
Yes. This is an actual site that we know where people were hung. And this is known as the notorious Hanging Bridge of Shabuta, Mississippi.
Damn.
How many people were hung from here?
First, it was 2 teenage boys who were hung for allegedly raping a young white girl. 2 million and 2 females who were also hung. The 2 ladies that were killed, they were pregnant.
Do you think lynchings are still happening today?
The lynchings of today are more high class. We use bullets and guns. So I can't hang you from a tree.
Shit.
Sometimes
I just beg to differ. I can see them hanging I can see them hanging you from a tree. They might not leave you up there that long, but I can see them doing it.
People are lynched. People with mysterious death that they just end up on the bank of a river. No one knows how did he or she get there. How did it happen? See, people don't like to talk about racists. We talk about race, but we don't talk about a person being a racist. Because that's like an ugly word. Oh, I'm not a racist. I have black friends. You know.
Racism exists, but there's no racists.
That's right. There's no
Right.
racists.
How?
That's right.
That's impossible.
When people show you who they are, as Maya Angelou say, believe them. They showed you who they are in that town.
Facts.
We're standing here. We're talking about 1900s. We're in 2023. Things are still happening.
Yep.
When will it all change?
When God come back and save us, Jesus the Christ, that's when.
There's a fear in Taylorsville that speaking too loudly about these things could get you targeted, especially after the first protest, when the Carter family's march set off white people yelling racial slurs at them, and angry posts online threatening to kill black people.
One more time!
But since then, the family's gotten more support, especially from people outside the area. The most recent protest was dominated by a controversial religious group that isn't even from Taylorsville. Almost all of these men are from out of town, some as far as New York or further. Just like the first protest, there were some white residents who seemed angry about the march and weren't shy about making that known.
There's a crackhead come down here, and for some reason something happened to him, and hell, nobody in town even knew who he was. And they want to blame injustice. They don't know what injustice is. They've been crying it for 4 generations. Y'all was working somewhere. Be different.
Wow. He just called Rasheem a crackhead. That goes to show you how important our lives are to this particular group of people. Now, we can all sit up here and yell and scream and say, not all of them are like that. Okay. Tomato, tomato, touche. All right. I feel you. I get you. You got some white friends. They cool with you. But you never know what people do behind closed doors. You remember that.
But unlike last time, nobody really messed with the protesters. Jill Jefferson says she understands why people in Taylorsville already don't trust the police. And she says the way police initially handled this case has probably felt like a confirmation of their worst fears.
There was a rush to judgment about what happened, that judgment being that nothing happened. They're still finding body parts. So obviously this crime scene, it hasn't even been cased properly. On both sides, there have been conclusions that have been made that are not supported yet. We don't yet know if this was a lynching. And that's just the truth. We have all of these events that are separate, but nobody's put them together. Nobody's connected the dots. We can call this a really suspicious case that really needs to be looked into more, but there is not enough evidence to call this a lynching.
Beyond all of that, there's the human element of this. It sounds like you understand why people would go to that conclusion.
I completely understand how people came to that conclusion. In Mississippi, there have been at least 8 modern-day lynchings since 2000, and there are probably dozens and dozens more. We just don't know these people's names. It was actually a white reporter who told me that they would just go check in sheriff's departments or police stations and say, hey, what you got today, or what happened? And the cops in this day and time would say, nothing but a nigger killing. And so that tells you how these cases are kind of treated like on a mass scale in this state.
Nothing but a nigger killing.
Yes. Black lives and white lives are treated differently in terms of the response by law enforcement in Mississippi. So I understand the assumptions, for sure.
Vice News has reached out to the Taylorsville Police Department for an interview. They declined. We were able to speak to Smith County Sheriff Joel Houston.
I'm sorry, That's some right there. Nothing but a good killing, huh? That's how they feel about us. I can't make anybody feel like they want to agree with what the facts are right here, because we all know numbers don't lie, and you have to take what people say and believe what they show you. And if you constantly show me that I'm a piece of shit to you, then we're not gonna we can't connect. There isn't a connection for us. And the people down here in Taylorsville, in good old Mississippi, they could give a rat's ass about you, 'cause you ain't nothing but a I think I'm going to depart. If y'all want to see more visuals like this, hit the like and subscribe. Don't forget to click the notification bell so you can get all the posts whenever I post a new video. Peace. That's some bullshit.